interesting facts about bats. There are many legends about bats, and some people consider these animals to be sinister. While bats are one of the most interesting mammals on the planet, with more than 1,300 different species and more species every day is discovered. In this article, from the series of exciting things to know, we are going to talk about the bat and its characteristics and specifications and provide you with interesting facts about this animal. Stay with Adriana. Appearance of the bat. Different types of bats have different sizes. Some of them are very small and reach 2 centimeters in length, while others have very long wings with a length of more than 2 meters. Bats have 4 long fingers and a thumb, and these fingers are connected by a layer of skin. The flexible skin and good mobility of the joints allow the bat to easily change its direction and steal its prey in the shortest possible time while hunting insects. Bats are the only mammals that fly. Some types of bats use the ability to sense sound and measure its echoes for navigation and hunting, and others find food with the help of their strong sense of smell and vision. The biggest and the smallest bat, the pig-nosed bat that lives in the forests of Thailand, is the world's smallest bat and mammal, measuring about 2.5 centimeters in length, the size of a bee, and weighing 2 grams. The Indonesian giant flying fox is the largest type of bat, with a wingspan of 2 meters and a weight of 1.5 kilograms. Behavioral characteristics of bats. Bats are mammals that usually hunt at night. Some species of bats fly at very high altitudes, sometimes at a distance of more than 3 kilometers from the ground. Some bats live alone, and others live in large groups of bats. Bats always rest upside down, opposite, and hang their feet somewhere. Scientists still do not know the reason for this, but some say that by resting in this way, the bat can escape much more easily in an emergency. Types of bats. There are more than 1,300 different species of bats in the world, which makes this animal the second largest group of mammals after rodents. Bats make up about 20% of all mammal species in the world. In general, different types of bats can be classified into 2 main groups: microbats, megabats. Microbat. Most bats are microbats that feed on insects such as willows that come out of their nests at night. Vampire bats are the only species of microbats that use blood instead of insects, although there's no need to worry because these animals prefer cow and horse blood to human blood. Microbats rely on the method of sound sending and echo sensing to navigate in dark caves and hunt at night, and detect the position, distance, and size of objects and their prey with inaudible sound waves. Megabats live in tropical regions and feed on the fruit, nectar, and pollen of plants. Compared to microbats, they have bigger eyes and a stronger sense of smell but smaller ears because they use only their sight and smell to navigate and hunt. In total, there are over 150 different species of megabats, which are usually, but not always, larger than microbats. Bats' habitat and nest. Unlike most animal species, bats are found all over the world, including in polar regions, dry deserts, and some isolated islands, and there are hundreds of different species that live in caves and forests, especially in the southern hemisphere. The nest of bats is called a roost, which is often created in caves, hollow trees, and old buildings, and the bat rests there and hides itself from the sight of enemies. However, choosing the type of nest according to the season is determined. For example, in winter, They usually hibernate in caves. These animals sometimes nest on the roofs of buildings. It should be noted that bats are not rodents and do not eat wood, wire, or other construction parts. In general, finding a good and suitable nest is a difficult task, and usually, many bats live in large colonies with millions of other bats. Bat food. The bat hunts at night. The food of many bats in the world is insects, but sometimes they also hunt frogs and small rodents. Some bats prefer the fruit, nectar, and pollen of plants, and there are a few species that feed on the blood of animals. Bat enemy. There are many animals that are known as enemies of bats, but it depends on the place where bats live. Among the enemies and predators of bats, we can mention some birds such as owls and falcons, both of which can also hunt at night. Snakes, raccoons, and minks are other enemies of bats. Tarantulas also hunt small bats, and bats that live on trees are sometimes attacked by cats. In addition to natural predators, things like the loss of habitats, the reduction of food, especially insects, due to the use of agricultural pesticides and climate change, the loss of nests, and disease are other factors that cause the death of bats. The birth of the bat. Many bats give birth to only one baby a year. Some bats have 2 babies, and a few give birth to 4 babies a year. The mating season of bats is usually autumn because the male bat is not ready to mate in the spring due to hibernation and weakness, but the female bat postpones her pregnancy and childbirth until the spring when enough food is found. During this time, the sperm of the male bat is kept in its body, which prevents the development of the fertilized egg until the right season arrives. In many species, female bats gather in a nest to give birth and raise their offspring in a group. This allows them to better protect themselves from predators. After 2 months, the baby bat is big enough to fly and leaves the nest by midsummer. The lifespan of a bat. Bats have relatively long lives. Most of them live at least 10 to 14 years, and some of them live 30 to 40 years. Dangers and benefits of bats for humans. Despite all the misconceptions about bats, they are beneficial to humans and the environment in many ways. By eating insects, microbats help reduce agricultural pests and the need for farmers to use pesticides. Bats help with pollination and fruit production. It is said that more than 500 plant species, including mango, banana, and avocado, need the presence of bats for pollination. Fruit-eating bats disperse seeds and thus contribute to the growth of trees and vegetation in rainforests. Is the bat ominous? For hundreds of years, the bat has been known as a sinister and evil animal, probably because of its strange eyes and teeth. Also, there are many myths about bats being vampires, which has made us fear bats even more. While only 3 species of bats feed on animal blood, and all of them live in the heart of South American forests and not in Transylvania. Interesting facts about bats. A bat can eat up to 1,000 mosquitoes in an hour. Bats have special veins that make their blood flow properly, so they do not get dizzy when they fall. Despite their resemblance to rodents, bats are more closely related to humans than mice. Near caves in the Malaysian state of Sarawak on the tropical island of Borneo are famous for the thousands of bats that live there. Vampire bats have very sharp little teeth that can pierce an animal's skin without the animal even noticing. Vampire bats can carry rabies, making their bites potentially dangerous. It is said that the 2019 coronavirus disease was probably transmitted from bats to other animals and then to humans. Bats can fly at a speed of 96 km/h.